Tough times for Gangrene across the pond on Sunday. The Jets, they failed to score a touchdown in London. They fell to the Broncos 13-11. So let's break it down with the host for ESPN New York Radio. It's my guy, Ty Butler, joining me now. Ty, I would ask you how you're doing, but you root for the Jets, so that means you can't be doing good, right?
Listen, I actually woke up feeling pretty optimistic today because I heard the head coach of the Jets, Aaron Glenn, talk about they had a great week of practice, even though
Come on.
said that last
You've
week
heard this
and
before. Yeah.
they got bludgeoned by the Cowboys. But also, sometimes the best cure for a team that's struggling, and you've been covering sports for a long time, the players only meeting. So they check that box as well. Man, so because of the players only meeting and the great week of practice, I'm like, man, sign the Jets up for the Super Bowl. Could this be the start of a ride?
I'm just
Man,
shaking my head at you.
listen, listen. When you are this deep into the season, you're winless. Coming into the game, you have zero takeaways. Your defense is the second worst in football. Your quarterback looks like he's never played the sport before. There gets to a point where you start to disengage just emotionally. I'm going to watch every play, I'm going to watch every single game, but emotionally, you disengage. So I am not angry right now. I'm upset. I'm disappointed, especially because, and us as fans feel this way, when the entire world is watching you embarrass yourself, it makes you feel like the next time you go outside, you got to put a paper bag over your face. Sounded like Kurt Warner listening to that game was offended by Justin Fields, offended by the Jets because they ruined his trip to London. He's like, yo, man. I wanted to come out here to have a good time. Had to call a Jet game and that football game because the Broncos are responsible for this too, set our country back 60 years. That's how awful that product was. I mean, it's embarrassing to wake up, get yourself all ready to go and have your like timeline sped up because you got a 9:30 game. So you're getting things. I got kids. Everything's in rush mode to watch that just now. Oh, it felt like just an embarrassing display. Roger Goodell, Roger Goodell is just like, bro, we got all these deals lined up. We want to play international games, but that was just a pathetic showing for both the football teams. The Broncos were able to get the win.
That was not a good showing there. Very rough. If you like offense, there wasn't much offense. One touchdown in this game, none from the Jets. We'll get into all that. But Ty, to say that this was a rough game for the Jets offense, that's being kind here, right? And that includes Justin Fields. And the Jets starting QB, he went 9 of 17. He passed for 45 yards. The Jets recorded 82 total yards in this game. Now, yourself, Gangrene fans, they've seen some terrible quarterbacking over the years. Where does Justin Fields' performance today in London rank for you in terms of worst Jets quarterbacking performances of all time? Because I feel like this has to be up there in some regard, but where does this rank for you and how bad was it?
Oh, it's as bad of a performance that I've ever seen all my years watching the Jets because it just felt like at times, especially as you're gearing up for a 2-minute drill toward the end of the first half, where it necessitated having him throw the football. And all you had to know, forget what we're saying as media, the fans, forget what they're saying. All you got to know about how bad Justin Fields was today, watch the plays that were being called. Watch his head coach have zero confidence in him putting together drives, which includes that final sequence of the game. The Jets found themselves about 7 to 10 yards shy of field goal range for Nick Folk, and they're running the ball. They're running the ball. They try to call pass plays. He gets sacked. So it is without question one of the worst games I've ever seen from a Jet quarterback. It's a poorly coached team offensively. They have no identity, and I understand, man. The Broncos, that is a tenacious defense. That is also an opportunistic defense. So you don't want to, especially when your defense is playing well, you don't want to have your offense get exposed to situations where they could turn the ball over. So the conservative approach, to a certain extent, you can understand. But he was awful today. And let's not take this regime off the hook because we're going to talk about, well, he's been on three teams in 3 different years. This regime Darren Moji and Aaron Glenn decided they were going to give him $30 million guaranteed, a 2-year, $40 million contract, because they thought that they could win football games with him. And we don't have to talk about their decision to get rid of Aaron Rodgers, who, oh, by the way, is winning with the Steelers. But they thought that he gave them a better chance to win games than Aaron Rodgers did. And watch the game for yourself today. Did it look like that? Absolutely not.
It absolutely did not look like that at all whatsoever for Justin Fields and the Jets offense. Now, the defense, Ty, they were good in this game. They held the Broncos to 13 points. They held them to 1 touchdown. Considering how strong the Jets defense was in London, should Aaron Glenn have gone to Tyrod Taylor to give his team a chance to win this game when Justin Fields looked as bad as he did?
Listen, I want to give my man Alex B. Central a shout out because he hit me with that question during the game on X, and I said no, it didn't make any sense. But upon further review, like you throw a challenge flag and you send it up to the booth. Upon further review in my brain, I would say, yeah, man. Like it gets to a point where you're just desperately trying to win. It's not about feelings. It's not about, what it's going to do for the quarterback long term. It's about, I'm 0-5. We are on the cusp of being at a trade deadline where we're sellers because our team is so bad. So we just desperately need a win in the worst way possible. So, to quote Malcolm X, by any means necessary. So if that means going to a backup quarterback who I think is a better passer, then sure. It's not going to be long lasting because Tyrod it ultimately ends up getting hurt. And Justin Fields, as I mentioned, he's a guy that you financially invested in. But you owe it to your team at that point. When you see the defense balling, Bo Nix didn't have a single passing yard until about 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter in the second half. So second half passing yards. Bo Nix was stuck on 0 until about 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. The defense is balling. Special teams has played well. So at that point, if you're Aaron Glenn, you owe it to your team to give them some kind of spark. And he was reluctant to do that. And ultimately, that loses them the game because you mentioned it. Yes, the scoreboard says 11 points. 2 of them came via a safety. Your offense in a 60-minute game put up 9 points. 9.
9 points. No touchdowns.
Unbelievable.
No touchdowns for the Jets. It was a putrid offensive performance for them. And then I want to ask you about this other coaching decision because you kind of alluded to some of this coming late in the fourth quarter because the Jets, they went for it. They were about 5 yards from field goal range on 4th down late in the fourth quarter. They opted to pass instead of run when the pass hadn't been working all day. I just talked about Justin Fields only threw for 45 yards, and then he ends up getting sacked. Was passing the ball the right choice there, or should they have brought out Nick Folk for a 62-yard field goal and say, at least he gives us a chance to get some more points on the board and win this game? What did you think about Aaron Glenn's decision there?
So I don't disagree with the decision to go for it on fourth. It's a tough spot. And regardless of what happens, this is similar to the baseball conversation where it's like, do you leave your starter in or you go to the bullpen? If whatever decision you make ends up working against you, ends up not working out, you're going to be killed for it. I don't think that we should treat, a 60 plus, and I understand the NFL is different now. Guys are hitting them with regularity. I don't think we should treat a 62-yard field goal as just some walk in the park. So I did not disagree with the decision on 4th and 8 to go for it because there's some upside there. The Jets had Garrett Wilson on a previous play, and Fields hit him. It was knocked out of his hands. I actually think he made the pass. I'm surprised it wasn't reviewed. So I did not disagree with that decision. What I disagree with is the lack of consistency. All game long, you're running the football, which was to my chagrin, which was to a lot of Jet fans' chagrin. You're running the football, running the football, running the football. You get to within 10 yards of field goal range. Why are you now deciding, okay, we're going to throw against that defense? And the Jet pass rush or the Jet offensive line against the pass rush showed you they were incapable of stopping the Broncos defensive line, especially when the Broncos brought that pressure. So I just thought the lack of consistency in that last sequence bothered me more than any of the decision making when it came to the 4th and 8, because all you got to do is pick up 10 yards, you're in field goal range, and now the game is in your hands.
Yeah, 4th and 8 decision. They did not execute there. Jets were inconsistent with the offensive play calling throughout this game for sure. Last thing for me here, Ty, because, all right, Jets are 0-6 now. You generally are what your record says that you are. But has this team given you any reason at all to have any hope that a change is going to come soon, and that they're not the same old Jets? Like, have they given you any hope, or are you just like, look, man, this is the same old Jets here?
Oh, a change gonna come? You giving me the Sam
I
Cooke
gave you the Sam
song?
Cooke. I hit you with the Sam Cooke.
That's what you hitting me with now,
Hit you with the
man.
Sam Cooke, man.
It's funny because we already had the Malcolm X reference played by Denzel Washington in that movie Sam Cooke on the soundtrack. So I like the little chemistry. Yo, New York Post Sports, man. We got that chemistry here. Yeah, make sure y'all, you make sure you guys don't not pay attention to that. Listen, you're 0-6. You are the worst team in football. The one thing we can celebrate is that for the first time all year, you got a turnover, which, by the way, you go back and look at the play. The only reason why it was fumbled was because the Jets initially had a missed tackle. Because if they had tackled him and he had gone down, it's not a fumble. Because he broke the tackle and he's running, they were able to get their hands on the ball. But 0 takeaways coming into today, that changed. You were the only winless team in football. Your defense did play better. But when you come up with another L, why am I to believe, especially because of it's not just that you're losing, and we've talked about this before, Dexter. It's how you're losing. Finding ways to lose games, and that is symbolic of bad coaching and a culture that just has not gravitated toward being able to figure out how to win. The coaching in this game was an unmitigated disaster. That clock management, and we haven't talked about this, at the end of that first half was like the worst I've ever seen. They went for it on 4th and 1, a fake punt, picked up the first down, and then decided the half is over. So what's the point of picking up the first down? You're close to midfield. At least a try, at least attempt a Hail Mary, because, maybe he catches it. Maybe you pick up a penalty. Something can happen. Like there is a reward to that. There's no reward to just allowing the clock to just get down to 0 and you're going to halftime. So do I take away anything other than it's the same old Jets? Anything other than they're the worst team in football? Absolutely not, because this head coach appears to be over his head. It appears to be that he's overwhelmed by having to fix this disaster that is the organization that can't win football games, that is accustomed to losing, and the fact that in the midst of this football game, he's just making bad decisions, man. So I'm fired up. I said I wasn't angry, but you get me to start reliving the game. It's like, bruh, come on now. Come on.
See, it's not what I wanted. I didn't want you to have to, relive the trauma. But it's tough. I mean, it's hard to not say same old Jets. You're right, 0-6, worst team in football right now. It ain't easy being green for the fans of game.
Let me just say this real quick.
Go.
Because everyone is going to rush to, you got to be patient. Who did I see? I saw someone on ESPN saying that the other day, talking to Aaron Glenn about how he has to be patient. Oh, it was Tony Dungy. Because you look at the head coaches, including Bill Parcells, Joe Gibbs, who like their first season did not start off well. It was an inauspicious beginning to their tenures, and had those guys have been given up on, obviously the success that followed would not have happened. But Aaron Glenn is not Bill Parcells. He's not Joe Gibbs. So you're putting a lot of faith into a guy who's never done this job before for an organization that has been a dumpster fire. And I think that is the main reason why Jet fans today are searching for answers as to whether or not he's headed toward one and done. That's going to be a conversation, man. Like, could he be a one and done head coach? I don't think it's going to happen, but there's a reason why people are talking about it.
Yeah, it's going to be a conversation going forward, especially if they do not get any more wins. I'm not saying they're going to go 0-17, not saying that,
Could
but
you
like
imagine?
the longer they go without winning, it's going
Yeah.
to only increase the conversation. And then Ty is
How
going to be
about
back
this?
up here with me talking about it and hopefully not as stressed. Yeah, what you got? How about what?
Who who wins first, the Jets or the Knicks?
I'm going to put my money on the Knicks. I'm not saying I'm betting. I'm just saying it might
Wait,
be
because the
smart to
Knicks are
put some
what,
money on
10
the
days?
Knicks.
What, the Knicks are 10 days
10
from
days
now?
away from the start of the next season. Knicks might get a win before the
Oh
Jets.
man.
I
Could you
like that.
wow.
We'll see. That is Tyreek Butler. Check him out on ESPN New York Radio. Also check out his show on YouTube, The Tyreek Butler Show. Check it out. I know he's going to have a good rant for you guys tomorrow about the Jets for sure. Ty, I appreciate you, man. Stay well, and don't let the Jets ruin your week.
Oh nah, we're all good, man. It's on to better things. I appreciate you, bro.
No problem, man.